Hi, everyone, and welcome to Dear Katie, the podcast that amplifies courageous voices and real stories of resilience, healing, and hope after trauma. Inspired by the many letters Katie has received over the last 20 years, each week she interviews survivors, healers, and experts to honor their stories and explore the many paths to healing and hope. Before we begin, please know, many episodes of Dear Katie cover sensitive topics related to sexual violence, trauma, and recovery. Listen with care and take the space you need to take care of yourself. Your well-being is what matters most. Now, let's join Katie and today's guest for a conversation that matters.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Dear Katie podcast. This is Katie Koestner, your host, and I am always delighted to welcome everyone back to journey along. Don't forget to take notes if you are actually, writing down good and helpful things as we listen to each and every one of our guests with their own journeys of healing. Please take time out if you need to at any point and come back and join us after you've gotten a fresh air break or whatever else you need. I think all of you are going to find Carissa's story just incredible as well, but I'll share just a tidbit about her and then she'll tell you lots more. So Carissa Kumbelik is a survivor herself. She's also done a million things from a championship swimmer, I believe backstroke, and I'm not sure all the strokes she does. But she's also someone who has been through a lot with her own. I think her son was autistic. She worked so much to help him. She's now also doing so much for legislative initiatives in her home state, and her passion is speaking for others until they find their own voice, whether as a guest speaker or at the State House. She advocates for survivors in every way, shape, and form, and understands that healing takes time, and so does finding your voice. So welcome, Carissa. It's a delight to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. That was, it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be here today. And I'm grateful for the journey. So thank you so much.
100%. So, Carissa, I always like to start out where did you grow up? Yeah. What was that like?
Sure.
First part of your life. Go ahead.
So, I grew up in a typical home, two really hardworking parents. They had us really young. My mom had me at 17, 18 years old. And then by 20, they had all three of us. So 20 under 3. And then they started college later in life. And so I have lots of, memories of seeing my mom, in class. I'd go to class with her sometimes at night school, and the same as my dad. And they worked, 3 jobs and raised us, and we always felt very loved. And then my dad got his master's and, decided to stay home more with us. So he withdrew his application to be a vet. And then my mom went off and went to medical school and became a physician. And so I watched, as a young girl, I watched what hard work looks like, and that the possibility to achieve things in life that you want are in your reach. And so I think that kind of, I was a swimmer at a young age, and I ended up swimming at the U.S. Open. I was nationally ranked.
Wait, okay. We jumped a whole topic.
Okay.
Let's go back. Let's go back just a second. So we have you and 2 other siblings, yes. And your mom and dad are working many jobs and going to school, and you're going to school. And so when and those 2 siblings are younger than you?
Yes, I have 2 brothers. So Chris and Chase were
okay.
We had a very supportive family. My grandparents and great-grandparents helped pay for a roof over our head in all of our sports, so that we were very active, healthy children growing up. So we had a lot of family support, while my parents, also worked hard to provide for us.
And were you all growing up in Indianapolis or Indiana somewhere?
So we
Midwest?
We were in the Midwest. We started, we've kind of been all over because my dad was originally, in the Air Force. So I was, and I apologize if I'm kind of going all over the place, but I was born in Texas. And then we moved to Germany, lived in Germany for about 5 years. And that's where my brothers were born. And then my great grandparents asked them to come back to the States and go back to school, and that they would help with us. And they did that. And so they, went to college, and we lived in Kansas City, Missouri. Sorry. And that's where I started my, my swimming career. It wasn't really a career, but that's where I started swimming, and practicing, 6 hours a day, as I got better. And then it came to a time, when I was, I was in 6th grade, and my mom had to pick, she graduated med school. And so she had to pick a residency program to go on next. And so she picked a place that was the best trauma program for ER in the country, and she picked the best swimming program in the country, and that's how we landed in Indiana.
Oh, wow. And I mean, I guess I'm curious, when did you start swimming? Like, were you 4 years old? And
I started swimming at like 7. I started swim lessons, and I just remember hopping in the pool and jumping up and down and kind of swimming, like just playing. And then I think they quickly moved me into like the next program and the next program. And I just loved it. I navigated towards it. But then, once I turned 9 is when I started the swim team and started taking it more seriously, maybe, and swimming more. And so it kind of just evolved out of nowhere, just because I love to be in the water.
okay. And were you, I guess I'm curious, like, were you particularly just a great athlete? Were you tall? Like, what do you think helped you in the swimming world to be, I mean, you're incredibly successful.
Yeah, I have really flat feet, so I think that helped a
That
little bit.
helps?
It's like I
I
had
had
these,
no idea.
yeah, I had like little fins. I felt like my feet are super flat, so I'm not fast on land, but in the water, I don't know, it just worked for me. I'm probably your average build. I think I was more athletic. I played softball. I was a tomboy kid. You put me in a dress, I'm still going to be outside playing in the dirt. I always played football and baseball and basketball with all the boys, because I just wanted to, play sports. So I think I enjoyed racing and being competitive, and I just kind of found one thing that I excelled in, and so it just kind of worked out that way.
Okay. And you were in places, were you swimming in indoors or a public pool in your neighborhood, or where were you getting all the swimming in?
So I had lots of family members that took turns taking me to swim practice. So my parents usually were at school or working, and so I would have an aunt, or I would have my great grandparents drive me to practice, because it usually was after school at night. And then in the summers, it was morning and night. So we just had, people that packed me a lunch and would take me to practice. And then my mom and dad, after they, got out of school or class or work, then they'd come get me after. And my swim team was probably the next state over. So we lived in Missouri, and my swim team was in Kansas. So it just took everyone helping getting us there. So it just it took everyone.
Okay. And were your brothers swimmers as well? Did that pan out that you could all go together at some point, or no?
No, we were all doing our own thing. So my youngest brother, both of my brothers did wrestling, and they did football and baseball. But my middle brother kind of navigated towards wrestling, baseball, and football. And then my youngest brother navigated towards hockey, and they both excelled in that as well. And so my dad, we had a lot of support from other people helping them get to their stuff, and then, people helping me get to my things. So we all were at all different ends of the spectrum of like how busy we were.
You guys sound so you guys sound super busy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all the sports, all the parents doing all the academics, like jobs, like you must have all been running flat out, it sounds like.
Yes, we were. We were.
Okay. Yeah. So then, when does swimming end? So you swim all the way through high school.
Yeah.
And then, then how did high school turn out? And then what happened after that?
Sure. Well, for me, I was a nationally ranked swimmer since I was 9 years old. And so I swam at Nationals, US Open. And then by the time the last time I swam, I was about 2 seconds away from my Olympic trial cut. And then I made top 100 in history of all time for my age group. So I ended on that. And then that next summer, so that was I was 14, 15. So the next year, my sophomore, junior year, I slowly couldn't use scissors in class. I couldn't brush my hair. Like over time, it just seemed like I couldn't move my arms because it hurt so bad. And so I didn't say anything.
From the swimming?
What?
It was all from the swimming?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't say anything. My photography teacher called my mom and my dad, and she said something's wrong with Carissa. She can't even use scissors in my classroom. And so we went to like a sports doctor, and they said I had bilateral tendonitis, which sounds like no big deal, but I couldn't move my arms because it was so sore, and it's from years of overuse, probably. It could be a lot of things. But for me, I needed rest and I needed surgery. And the way they do surgery is you do one shoulder at a time, you rehab it, and then you do the second one. And so I thought it would take up too much time if I wanted to swim in college. And so I tried to rehab it, do physical therapy, rest it. I went to practice that next year every day and just kicked. So I used a kickboard, and I would do physical therapy outside of the pool, but then I would kick and try to race everyone with just using my legs. And about a year after that, there was no improvement. And so I ended up quitting. Which was really sad for me, and that kind of spiraled me kind of into a place where that was my identity, and was being a swimmer. Everyone knew me that I was a swimmer. That was what I excelled in, and it definitely became my identity. So once that was gone, and I couldn't come back from that at a college level, at least at that point, then I kind of lost myself and slowly started doing things that were harmful to myself, like drinking and partying. And I was like, well, if I'm not the swimmer, who am I? And I tried. I felt like it took me longer to learn things, but I always had swimming. So if I always made grades that were good enough to be able to still compete. And so I just really didn't know who I was. So that was a whole different thing in itself. And then as I'm making poor choices, that my senior year on our senior spring break, I went on our senior trip, and I was sexually assaulted by a group of people that I'd known since I moved there, since I was in 6th grade. And they videotaped it and recorded it. And
oh my God.
I know, and invited.
Oh my God. Okay. So wait. Let's go back to
slow down.
You are going along. I feel like you're swimming laps with me, and I'm slowly not keeping up. Okay, so you're now. This is senior year of high school, and it's a spring break trip?
Yes,
it's a spring break trip.
And
where did you all go?
So we went to the Bahamas as a class trip.
like on an airplane and all of you got like 100 of you, like 20 of you, like
So our
200
it
people?
was probably about 100 to 200. My class at the time had about 1,200 people in it, but it was kind of like a who wants to go. We had chaperones there, and so it was probably about 100, 200 people that actually went.
Okay. And so you're in a hotel for a week?
Yes, but I went with my parents. So my parents came down and brought my brothers, and I brought a friend. And so we all stayed with my parents. And I knew that the island over, that's where all my class was. So I begged my parents to let us go over there, without them. Because everyone's going to hang out and we're going to have so much fun. And at 18, you can drink. I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Right. Okay. So a whole bunch of you go over to a nearby place. One is at night.
So we go over there. Let's see. The island they were at was at Nassau, and like by Atlantis, and they all had like blocks of rooms. And so the chaperones stayed in certain rooms, and then the kids all stayed in certain rooms. So we went and stayed with a friend in their room, I think for 2 days. And they had like activities planned, but they had like one day where they had like this big booze cruise. And so all of us kids, with the chaperones or parents, we all got on this booze cruise. And so you drink all day. And then, at the end of the day, being out in the sun all day, you're drinking. And then everyone else was going to go out and do more stuff at night. And I was like, man, I can't do anything else. I really feel like I overdid it. So I asked if I could stay in someone's room and sleep while everyone else went back out. Right.
Okay.
So then,
Yep.
yeah.
No, I'm following.
So I mean, as irresponsible as, us kids were, like being irresponsible kids with no frontal lobe developed yet, that nothing bad can happen. I still thought that even though I drank too much, I still was trying to take care of myself, like going, okay, now I need to go into a safe space and go to sleep. Right. By people that I had known since 6th grade. So one of them gave me their key, and I went to the room and went to sleep. And then after that, is when it all happened.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So you're trying to sleep, you're not feeling great, and then a whole bunch of people come back in to the room?
Yeah. So I guess like I had a key to the room, and they must have had another key. You get a couple keys, and they were rooming with someone. So then they came back in the room, and then it just became this room of horrors, right? Like, they assaulted me. One raped me, and then another person used different objects on me, and the other person recorded it. And then it turned into something like, like pretty horrific that
Helen.
people were.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it all? Yeah, Carissa, I'm sorry to ask about all this, but I just want to ask for context for everyone listening.
Yeah.
So now you're like 7. Yeah, just a couple more things. Are you 17? Are you 18?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Yes, I was.
How old you were?
I was 18.
Okay, and then this is right before you're supposed to graduate. And then the people who did this to you, was it all boys? Was it boys and girls? Like, was it people that you thought? I think you said you thought they were your friends.
Yeah, I had gone to school with them, and they were people that we all hung out with since 6th grade. So we were all friends, but I believe it was all males in the room. And I guess it had gotten so out of hand that the people that told me about it that were there, I had one gentleman tell me that he watched from the window. Like it was just, it became, almost like I don't even know how to describe it. It was just something that got so out of control and everyone fed into it. It's the craziest thing. You would think you'd run in and go, stop, this is horrible. Why are you doing this? But it's almost like it just, I don't know. If
It's just what crazy. Do you think they were drunk and crazed as well? Like, or there's just no excuse and they were just, and oh gosh, it's blowing my mind, Carissa, all of it.
Well, and I think, I mean, we can all sit and I think at the end of the day, what they did was horrible because I went in there to be safe, right? And I couldn't protect myself. And it was so violent that I remember the headboard that was nailed to the wall ripped out and smashed on my head, and they still didn't stop. Like it was, so there's like a point of like, one, they should not have, you shouldn't have come back in the room and had any intention. But two, it was such an extreme that there's no excuse for you don't even treat a dog that way. You know what I mean? I couldn't protect myself.
It's horrific, Carissa. Oh my goodness. So I guess not to make you revisit it too much, but maybe just like, are you numb? Like, how do you even get home? How do you get through it?
Right. No, that's a good question. I think you become numb. I think you kind of feel like, I mean, at 18 years old, you're like, well, I did drink, but that doesn't, and then you're like, well, I can't say anything. And then people hear about it and they talk about it or laugh about it, and then your friend's like, well, don't do anything. They didn't mean that, like there's all these things that go in your head. So I think you definitely turn numb. And then I probably just partied more after that because you feel so ashamed and, you put the blame on yourself, I feel like, or at least I did. And, you move forward, right?
That's so common. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess maybe let's talk about what do you mean by he moved forward? Nothing, no regrets, no apologies, no, like even to this day, zero.
Oh, no. I mean, my goodness, I could, at the time I moved forward with the tools that I had. And at 18 years old, I didn't have tools to navigate that, especially when you lose who you are, right? So then if you're not who you thought you would be, and then something horrible happens to you, you really, sorry, I hiccuped. You really don't know who you are. And you don't have, I didn't at the time have the tools to navigate a traumatic event like that. And so my coping skills were cover it up, just have fun and move on that way. But it's very destructive to yourself. And, so I think I've had a lot of time to navigate that healing and learn what that looks like and to start to take care of yourself, that self-talk that is really important to encourage yourself and love yourself. But that stuff takes time and it's a long process. And I think it took me, having a daughter, realizing how much work I had to do and I needed to do it now or like yesterday or, it takes time, like knowing that I have children, I have to be a healthy parent. And I think that we have to heal or we can't, not everyone. For me, I had to heal so that I could be a good parent or I was parenting from a...
When do you... Yeah, but wait, now we jumped from parent. I mean, now we went from high school to parent. I feel like we need to get a couple more things in between.
Yes.
So you get back home and you did graduate, right?
Yes.
And then what happens next?
So I graduate and then I move like 500 miles back to Kansas City to kind of start over, leave my family, move in with my grandparents and try to figure it out. And I think within 6 months I was pregnant.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So, and you moved in with your grandparents?
Yeah, I moved in with my grandparents in Kansas City.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, in Kansas City, where we originally were from.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they were like, we'll pay for your college. You just need to go to school. You stay here. And I was like, nope, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to pay for my own college. I'm going to work 2 or 3 jobs. I'm going to find my own apartment. I was very hard on myself that I couldn't accept. I didn't think I deserved any help. That I thought, I always had this thought that if I can overcome something no one else can 10 times harder, it means more. And I don't know why I thought that way, but I definitely did a disservice where I.
But maybe, but maybe, Chris, I mean, think about what you've shared so far, or at least I'm thinking about it for sure. I'm like just going back and whatever you said. Like, first of all, you have this childhood where you're seeing this whirlwind of determination and commitment, and then you yourself are this nationally ranked swimmer at a young age, to the point where you're just killing your body because you're so determined, and like, you know, I won't say impervious to pain, but you were thriving to the point where, you know, you don't want to give up anything. And so I think the pattern is like, set aside pain, whether that be the pain of swimming or the pain of like being assaulted, and just keep trying. I don't know if that sounds like you, but it sounds like what you've told me so far.
Yeah, sounds great.
It sounds like this, you've always been wired to like do your very, very best, which is oftentimes world class, and then suffer through any sort of pain, mental or physical, to get to the next place, and you just don't stop. Okay, so now, and the pregnancy, how did that happen? If you can share, like, was that just a quick, what happened there?
So I moved into my own place, and I think I met somebody, a few months into moving into my own place, and he was nice, and so I started seeing him, and then I think within 6 months of us dating, I was pregnant. So I was, I think I was almost 19. So then the crazy part is that I was ready to come home, and my mom was pregnant with triplets.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Was she still married to your dad?
Yeah, they were still married. They wanted to have kids again. Well, yes, they wanted to have kids again. And so she said, come home and help me take care of these babies. And at the time, I didn't know I was pregnant, but I moved in with them to help them. She ended up losing one of my sisters, and her name is Charlie. And there was triplets, and there was one fraternal and 2 identical. The identical twins had mono transfusion. So that's when one's getting all of, the blood flow, and one's getting none. So at the time, they did a special surgery that you can keep the babies still in your belly and cut the placenta in half and try to save them. So Charlie lived long enough to save Sydney. And so now, Katie and Sydney they're 20 years younger than me, so they're 22 now. But yeah, I helped take care of my sisters, and then I had Cooper, who's 5 months younger than them. So I had 3 babies that I just adore and got to help raise. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's a lot. The father of yours, he took no role, or
the who did you say? The father?
The father of your child.
Yes. No, the father of Cooper, he moved back here with me. So he's in Cooper's life for sure. He's done it. He's been a good father.
Okay, great. Well, that's something good.
There's something
so
good.
You're doing there's a good one. Because otherwise you're raising like all these children, you've been through so much and you're barely past your own assault at this point. So, okay. So now, and you didn't do the college route and you were doing, what kind of jobs were you doing?
Well, I went back to school, but then, and I was working a couple jobs. I waitressed and served. And then when I found out my son Cooper, something might be wrong with him, and there was autism, I quit. I made sure that I could provide for him because back then, insurance didn't cover anything associated with autism. So, and who knows if I would have finished anyway, you know what I mean? Like, I think I was willing to go, okay, what needs to be done? Well, I'll work 3 jobs to make sure he has all the therapy and everything that he needs. And then I can also be a part of, my sister's lives. My mom, would get my schedule. I think I was an assistant manager at a clothing store. So I'd give my mom my schedule in month advance. And then the days I wasn't working, I'd watch my sisters. And so they had a babysitter and I would alternate with their babysitter. So it was a way that my kids grew up together, and Cooper always had like 2 like best friends. So it was hard, but it was really something beautiful for them,
Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. So then now let's get back to when do you figure out that you need to do the healing work?
Well, it's been a process. I would work on some, I was in therapy for a long time. So I've always been in constant therapy. And there are times where I did really well, and there are times where I really, really struggled. And so I don't want to gloss over that, but I was definitely, a mess in a lot of moments of my life. And, I've landed in the hospital and had to navigate that. And, so I think it was a journey that was really difficult for me because I really had to face what I needed to face. But I was watching this, interview. I think it was right around the time that I knew I was having a daughter, because I have 3 children. My daughter is my youngest. We named her Charlie after my sister that died. And the video talked about her own sexual assault. And it talked about there's a story of this family dog that was this cherished, loved family dog. Well, this dog was pregnant, right? And they got news that this dog got hit by a car. And so they take this dog, they rush their family dog to the vet, and they're like, can we save her? And he said, okay, we can save her. She's going to be okay. I have to, amputate her back legs. And they're like, well, are the babies going to be okay? And they said, the babies are going to be fine. They're going to be healthy. And they said, but mark my words, she's going to learn how to walk again. And this gets me emotional every time, but it really stuck with me. She said, she's going to get up, learn to walk again. She's going to drag her hind legs, and her puppies will be completely healthy, but they will drag their legs like her. And for some reason, that just got me. And I was like, oh goodness, like I need to like seek healing for myself, because I don't want my daughter or my sisters or my boys, I don't want to, anything I'm lacking, whether it's my fault or not, I have a responsibility to be healthy, so I can have a great life and advocate for people. But you have to save yourself first. And so that was just the thing that got me like really realizing the work needs to be done. So it was a long process, but, baby steps, right? Like therapy.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I was going to ask you, Carissa, like, what do you think some of the things that were the most helpful to you, and why? Because I'm also thinking you're a very, like, you don't sit back and take much. I keep getting this sense of you as this powerhouse. And so the healing make you feel like impatient, or I don't know, like I'm just guessing everything you're sharing. It sounds like I'm already trying to swim. I mean, like I feel I was never the swimmer you were, but I really liked. I was a little girl in Atlanta, and I was like a fish.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought I loved just going out there and tearing through the water, and I still don't sit still that well. So I'm like thinking we're kindred spirits in that way. And so I think sometimes I too myself I get frustrated with just talking about things. Like I feel like I personally heal best when I'm like climbing a mountain and conquering something.
Yeah.
And I feel just very physical about the healing, and that's just me. I get best results when I get out of my headspace sometimes. Although sometimes I guess I'll say it this way, like I like unlocking the puzzle of it. Like, what exactly is this doing to me right now that I'm still like either being triggered by or like remembering or shameful, like, or the blame, like any of so I guess I'd love you to talk in little chunks about what kinds of things were really helpful and what wasn't a good fit for you if you tried some stuff that was not good.
For me, I started out where I couldn't get through a day, and this was in the beginning. And so I
wait 1 second. In the beginning, like when you were 18, like it just happened, or like in the beginning when you already had your child?
So probably after I had Cooper, once I was in, I threw myself into his therapy and saving him, right, and helping him. But then there comes a point, like in my early 20s, before I had my other two kids, that was probably that was the hardest. And so I got to a point where I was very depressed. And so I started medication, and then it became like I needed medication to wake up, and then I needed medication to go to sleep, and then I needed medication to get to work, and then I needed a medication, like it just kept, like it was just this, it wasn't me at all, because it wasn't helping me. And I think everyone needs to do what helps them. But this was drowning me. And so my point is that when I started taking baby steps, I'm going to brush my teeth today. That was my goal for the whole day. Obviously I made sure that my son was cared for. But like the days that you're alone and you're like, I cannot get out of bed. The goal was to get to the bathroom and brush your teeth. So,
and then, so let's say that's like that happened sometime in the morning. And then what happens the rest of the day? I'm so honored that you're sharing all this, because I'm certain, Carissa, that there are some of our listeners who can so relate to every word you're speaking.
Yeah.
It's so helpful. And we really haven't been as clear with some of our interviews as you're helping us be, because I like the idea of like, I think we're running all this big rat race. Sometimes it's like, and especially the moment you turn on your phone, you're like, oh my God, you're scrolling through mountains of TikToks. Yeah. And then you feel like, who cares about anything except for I can just sit here and watch this instead of do I don't know. But so let's say you get through the brush, did you journal about it? Did you just mentally, like, how did it operationalize?
I just mentally, I think I was just in survival mode. And it was something that my mom said, because I had, in between, Cooper, and then my other children, I had, I lost two babies. So I was in a really tough place trying to survive. And so she told me, pick one goal each day, and then you're allowed to go back to bed after you make that goal. And so that kind of stuck with me. So once I got up and brushed my teeth, I went back to bed. And then the next day I'm like, okay, I'm going to brush my teeth and I'm going to throw in a load of laundry. And then I was like, I did that. Okay, today, you know what I mean? And so it's those baby steps. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to walk to the mailbox and I'm going to walk back to my house. I brushed my teeth. I walked to the mailbox. So there are small things that you can accomplish, and you can go, okay, maybe I can, get dressed and get out of my pajamas today. So it's, for me, it was doing those small actions. And then I got to a point where what helped me was, exercising. And then slowly I got off all of this medication and then started feeding my body with what my body needed and learning what that looked like. And then, for me, it was, I knew for me, it's also faith, and I know where God brought me out of, and I know that He saved me. So it was just a mixture of all of these things and just taking that one little step at a time. Because I think I have a tendency to go, I need to accomplish 20 things to be successful. And at that point in my life, I couldn't do that. And that's not really what success looks like, So,
like you mean like 20 things in a day?
well, I mean, just like, I got to have this together. I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, I think there's so many things that if I were to start out and go, well, Carissa, you got to get up, do X, Y, and Z to be successful for the day. And I just needed to brush my teeth for the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like you had already created a to-do list instead of a care list, a self list, right? Like you're full of the to-do list, and you have a lot of responsibilities, but then you prioritized, instead of a to-do, it's a to care for.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. And that sounds brilliant. And then, so how did that process work? Were there any days where you lumped on too much and then you had to go back a step, or, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I'm really loving the process.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah. And I guess I have two questions, that like forwards and backwards. And then who was helping you at this time with life responsibilities with your kids? Was it your grandma? I think I missed that part.
So mine it's kind of interesting because I helped with my sisters, but I cared for Cooper I don't want to say 24/7, but I made sure that I worked at night, and then I was his caretaker. And then there was a time where he had therapy during the week. And so we would go for sessions during the week, but I always made my schedule to where I took him to every single therapy. I took him to, I think there was a period of time where once I got, a job that I could pay, most of my bills, my mom helped with some of the therapy. So it was, it was a big process. I don't know how to explain it other than.
No, that's super helpful. Yeah. I'm getting the picture. And so my other question was about step forward, step back. How did that happen? And if so, what helped you get past it?
I think for me, I couldn't really have I had a huge step back that sent me in the hospital. But that was before my other two children. There came a point where, in between, let's see, I think I was 24 when I got married. So I got married, and then, during that time frame, my husband lost his job, and so I had to work even more to provide. So I think for me, when I talk about my worst moments, they were not very long because I didn't have time for this to be a drawn out thing. And that I don't want that to sound harsh. I just, my step back would be, I couldn't have it go too bad because then we wouldn't have a roof over our head, right? I think I took the brunt of the step back emotionally, and I just kept putting it to the side because my family needed to eat. I mean, I brought Carson home. He's my middle child. I brought him home and I had to boil water for him to have a bath, so like I had lots of hard times, but like I had to like kind of get it together, like, or at least survive, right? I think I've been in survival mode forever.
Yeah, that's why I keep hearing, I like listening. I mean, for our listeners, we stopped, or we never use video very often, because I think it's so helpful just to focus on listening and hearing how someone says and describes, and not getting so distracted by the visuals that are constantly pressuring us to compare. And I just like listening to what people say. And Carissa, like I really, I appreciate, and I also like think, the theme of you is so clear. You work so hard, and yet you maintain this ability to hold it together in these very like challenging. And now we're not just talking about challenging like with what you went through. It's like economic challenges and family responsibilities, and and your mom's children, and it's all. I think another thing I'm just kind of sad and thinking about, but also is, I think when you're so young, as you were, when you were achieving so high levels of success as a swimmer, it becomes really difficult to overcome even like that injury that took it away from you, and that what could have been. Like, I think the other problem is for those of us who do have this incredible talent, a lot of things all of a sudden are crashing in around you, like whether it was the injury or the multiple assault situation, and then getting pregnant so soon, and your mom's pregnant. Like, I feel like it was suffocating for you in so many ways, and just so admirable and strong that you found a way through it all.
Yeah.
It's really brave and strong.
Well,
yeah. And I also love the part when I'm just going back because I like thinking about things that with our listeners, so that we can just sit and reflect for a moment on the like amazing things. And I liked when you said it became the part where I needed pills to get up and pills to go to bed. And you knew enough, and you knew enough that was not a long-term solution. And I also love the part where you said you started putting healthy things into your body that your body wanted. Yeah, I love that, because like even this morning at the gym, I was talking to a woman. She's like, "Oh my gosh, people are eating things that it's not even real food anymore. It's like fake, artificial everything."
Yeah.
And I don't even know how our body can get along on artificial colors and flavors and plastics and man-made terrible things. But anyway, Mike, okay, so now, so we are getting through this one day at a time. And then you mentioned counseling. Maybe we could talk, like, what good, if anything, came out of the counseling? Or maybe not much.
Well, yeah, I guess that says a lot.
Like, it's totally fine around here. Like, no one's like, we're not lauding any one modality.
I definitely think counseling is important. I definitely think that you need to find the right counselor. I think I just had so many levels of pain, and that it was hard for me to, I was a big sharer. I mean, I could see someone walking down the street and, they could say hi, and I'd be like, this is what happened to, I want to tell everyone, like, this is what happened. Like, I'm dying inside. Like, can someone see that I'm dying inside? Do you see that I'm dying inside? Like, like I could talk a therapist's ear off. But for some reason, I wasn't receiving what I needed. And so that's on me, right? Like, and so I had to do other things until I could receive the information coming in, if that makes any sense.
I think I agree, but I also don't agree, only not to be argumentative at all. But I think sometimes we assume that every counselor is going to have all these perfect like ideas and statements, and I don't think that it's like finding a partner. Like, you're not going to find a perfect match. There's no such thing, and all of us take in the world so many different ways. And even if there's an objective way to navigate trauma and stress, I still think it's so nuanced and complicated based on every minutia of our lives. Like, I think even finding a perfect match in the counseling world is really hard, and you're very lucky if you do find one. And then if you're strong enough, and many of us though aren't, like when we're going through this very vulnerable stage, we're not even confident enough to trust anybody else. Like, it's like, oh, do I have to tell somebody else this one more time? It becomes exhausting just to seek the support and find a good match, which is so unfortunate as well. It just feels like awful, which is kind of why I like the podcast, because we're like, listen to all of this. It's totally free. and then you can decide who you resonate and click with. So
yeah, I could
anyway, just
for sure.
Yeah, you go.
Oh, sorry.
You go.
I can definitely.
Yeah.
I could agree with all of that as well. It's funny because my mom and my sisters now, we all joke about we're like, we need to have a podcast. Like we sit around and talk, it is therapeutic to sit around and talk to people that are in your safe space that have been, I always say that been in your boat and have fought along with you. Whether we've made, through our mistakes and our other, our great moments of accomplishment, like the people that are in your boat, I think it's great that you have that. And so we laugh about, the stuff that we've been through. And then we're like, we need to make because we try to make everything funny. And I'm like, there's gotta be a way to talk about your trauma and make it funny. If maybe that's just me. So something's wrong with us.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes we can laugh at the things that we can now look back on with more courage and strength. I totally agree. And maybe some of the things that were like, oh my goodness, that was like crazy of me at the time. So I totally agree. And I think sometimes, people aren't ready for any humor in the healing process, but I think you've got to look at almost all of life with, some sort of understanding that it's definitely not linear and it's definitely not perfect. And it's, at best, if laughter itself is good medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, okay. So now what was one of the best counseling type things that anyone ever said to you? What would you say?
I think for me, honestly, it was the words that my mom said. One goal a day. When you couldn't do anything, it was still, that's the one thing that still resonates with me is pick your goal and you do that and you accomplish it. And then you can, so that started, a lot of things for me just from that one thing.
Well, I think we should turn the page and talk about the legislation and how it came to be that you've become this state level advocate and getting laws and policies passed. I know that's a big jump. And if I missed anything along the way, I just want to make sure we talk about that because it's so important, the work you're doing.
Absolutely. So it started from, I was working on healing and trying to be a good role model for my sisters through their, formative years. And they mean so much to me, and they've grown up with my kids, and it's been kind of a beautiful thing that's unfolded, and I'm so grateful for them. But I think what kind of started everything for me legislative wise is, and I didn't know that's what it would turn into at the time. I just had a goal. But what happened is my sisters at the time, when my sister was 13, she went out and rode her bike to a friend's house, and on the way, a truck pulled over and tried to get her in their car, and she fought back. And when, they were unsuccessful, one stayed out and raped her on the side of the road next to her bike. And
Oh my God.
yeah. And then they left, and she got on her bike and rode home and didn't tell anybody. And I think she finally told her counselor. I think she got really close with the counselor at school. And since she's a minor, the counselor has to, report that, right? And I'm so grateful for that. So I just remember being outside playing with my kids, because I moved about an hour away from my family at the time. And we were outside playing, and I got the phone call. My mom, like all she could say was Sydney. And I just knew something horrible had happened. And I stayed calm, and I told my husband, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Carmel, and so he took care of our family, and I went to Carmel, and I had some choice words on the hour drive back home. I was very angry, and I think I cussed out evil. And I said I was coming for him.
Okay.
So it was, there was something, it was painful. It's one thing if something happens to you, but when it happens to someone that you love, who's innocent, and it's horrible. It's gut wrenching. So I think I spent like the next, few months with her, and just try to be there for my family. And so that kind of sparked everything. I will share this really before I go into like the legislation part, but we, a few months later, we thought, she was doing good, and we had like kind of friends over, and we were getting ready for a party, and Sydney said, we were doing like a costume party, and Sydney talked to my kids, and they were going to wear the same costume. Well, my kids were waiting for her at the front door, and I got another phone call that she tried to take her life, and she was in the hospital, and I'm looking at my kids staring out the window. So that,
Oh my God.
yeah. So there was events that just formed, and I just was like, this is enough. Like, this is enough. My mom was molested, I was raped, and now my sister's raped. So what am I going to do about it? And so that kind of sparked like just this fight in me that it's not happening to my daughter. And, we're going to make sure that we talk about it, and we advocate for others. And so I just something happened in me, and I went to work, and, I started reaching out to the media. I started a petition and shared our story, and researched the laws. And I said, when I saw that you only had 5 years in Indiana to prosecute after a felony 3 sexual assault, which is without a deadly weapon, and I believe most sexual assaults fall in that category, you have 5 years to prosecute, and that's it. Once that time is over, you can't prosecute after that. And I thought, how cruel is that? To have a 13-year-old, for example, for what happened to her, and expect her to go to trial and just be, how trial is,
Yeah.
they don't have the tools yet. So we're putting a child in, fire, and they don't have the tools to take the fire out, right? Or to stand firm and say, no, this is what happened. And so it took a while, we'd gain a little traction getting out on the media and sharing our story. And then we were invited on, some podcasts, and they were super supportive and helpful. And I remember, the story going out for the first time, and I was like, okay, here I go. Like, I had never, shared my story on a platform like that, and anyone listen, right? So it just was, events, continuing after that. And then on my lunch breaks, I'd call senators and see, who can take this bill, because they can only take like 5 bills per session that they author. They can sponsor and co-author other bills, but they get 5. And so I just got to work to see who would take our bill. I was like, we need to lift the statute of limitations. And so I brought statistics, and I just kept pushing on it. And then I met Senator Alexander, who was amazing, and he fought for 2 years with me, and he said, I will do this as long as you want.
Oh, wow.
So
Brilliant.
So yeah, I don't know what else I can share.
And so, just maybe I think 2 really good ways to conclude are, where are you now? What could any of our listeners do to support you?
Oh,
Is it with the legislation?
Yeah, so
especially it's in
Go ahead.
In Indiana, right?
Yeah, so we're in Indiana. We're in Indiana, and
okay.
Our bill was just passed about a month or so ago, and so when it went through, it was in the last stages. So it goes to the Senate side and goes to the House side, or it can vice versa, right? But it's got to go through one side and the other, and then it's got to go through the full floors, and then it's passed. It's a very simplified version. But we, for a year and a half, it's kind of lengthy, but that's a simplified version. But when we were facing at the end of the finish line, it had to go to a criminal committee on the House side. Then it goes to the House, and then the floor, and we would be, they pass it or fail it. I was told that that committee, someone in that committee was not going to hear our bill if the statute of limitations was completely lifted. They were going to kill it. And so I had to make a decision. Do we take a win, even though they're going to change our bill? Or do we say, no, that's not good enough, which it's not, and then they kill it, and then we start all over again, which would be fine as well. But I chose to take the small win, and I hoped that a small win would bring some, hey, we got a small win. My sister gets to see something good out of this, and hopefully survivors, if there's a survivor out there that thinks they're alone, if they see this bill, I hope that they see that we're fighting for them, that they matter. And so I wanted that small win. And so what we did is we extended it. So the Indiana law is 5 years. With DNA evidence at that 5-year mark, it's extended 10. So you get 15. And they ended up taking off the child molestation out of our bill. So we were left with the felony 3 rape. And so I'm grateful for that, because I think this, a small win is better than no win. And it's something we can keep moving and working towards to continued legislation. And then hopefully more people want to be a part of it. And I think we can do more work. I think it's endless what we can do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Carissa, this is a glorious, amazing hour with you to just learn about your whole journey. And I think you inspire so many of us who just think, I'm not sure what I can do. And look at all that you've done. It's just fantastic. And you don't need money and power and prestige. You don't even need, I would say, Carissa, one thing I'll say it to you too. I when all the interns and the volunteers come to take back the night, since I was 18 like you when I was assaulted and was doing all this legislative work, with no degree and no money and no parent support. I definitely credit you because I was not pregnant. I'm just saying, I think it doesn't take power, prestige, college degree. There's no limitation. on being a change agent. And you are all of those things, and so strong and so admirable, and your endless strength and your willingness to go slow and be patient and incremental. I hope our listeners just soak in every little detail of our discussion today. It's just so inspiring, Carissa. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for, saying that. That's one thing that, the few times that I've been asked to speak at, in different classes, college classes at universities. And, that was one of the questions that they asked. And, when they were talking about how do you pass a bill? How do you do this? And when the professor asked me to come in, and I'm like, well, anyone can do it. You can do anything that, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but you, with passion and determination, and they can't knock you down and you keep getting back up, you will find a way. One door closes, find another door. And if that door doesn't work, find a different door or find a different avenue. Keep asking questions, keep learning. Because if only I think there's so many ways to be successful. And that was one thing that I always was afraid about myself, was that I never thought I was smart enough, because school was hard for me. It took me, 10 times longer to learn something. But once I learn something, I don't forget it. And so I think that I always thought, oh, I'm not very smart. I mean, my government class, I skipped class so much that I went into finals my senior year, and she taught world history and she taught U.S. government. I walked in, I took the U.S. history final, handed it to her, and I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And she was like, Carissa, you took the wrong final. I didn't even know that I took the wrong final. I was in the wrong class. And so I took the other final. So I'm like,
I think this is one where we both get to laugh a little bit. This is when you said we need a little. I love this story. Unfortunately, if you were a boy, we'd all be sitting around saying, "Yep, you outwitted him, and you're so cool." And girls are like, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And I like us just laughing about it the same.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome. And look where you are now. This is so good. This is great. You're going to keep making so many more good things happen. I just know it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I love learning about you as well. And I'm just grateful that you held space for me today and you heard me. And I think if we all can surround ourselves with people like you and people that, show up, my goodness, we can do anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we totally can. And some days we're just going to need to sit down and have some chocolate or do some swimming or, whatever we need. But I think the important thing is all the hard work that really needs to be done to make the world truly a better place instead of just full of money and power.
Yeah.
The glorious world is one where we all feel free and respected. And that's, no one's figured that out yet, unfortunately, but we're working on it. And that's the great work you're doing. So please, please, please know all of our listeners, I'm sure, are backing you. Many will go find you probably to see if they can help out in your, in Indiana where you are.
Yes, I'm in Indiana. You can find me on Facebook. I'm under Carissa Siekman. My last name's hyphenated. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. Please, anyone message me. We've got lots of work to do. I don't know what the next chapter is, but I'm open to, I always feel like survivors are going to be the ones to come save survivors, because we understand. So I welcome anything.
Unfortunately, the injured save the injured, but we're all good.
We're all good.
Yeah. We're all good. We're all good. Well, Carissa, thank you so much. It's such a joy to meet you and sit and listen and go through everything. Sorry, I had to go back and clarify a few things. I just wanted to make sure I captured, in my head. Yeah. I didn't miss that. I don't think I didn't take the wrong history exam, but I really hated history. It was I was like, why are we learning about killing and dying and wars and pain?
I know.
Isn't there a good part of history?
Right.
But anyway, I think I would have taken the wrong exam if I thought I could have gotten away with it. But anyway, it's just a joy. And I can't wait to keep following you. And we'll put show notes out to like keep others in touch with you as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. You are such a blessing to me today. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise. And hopefully our listeners will feel the joy and like hope and inspiration. And I would only recommend that anyone who's not done a lot of swimming, go out there and kick, kick some water, and stretch those arms. It does feel really refreshing in so many ways just to be in the water. So until another episode, I hope all of our listeners just soaked in everything Carissa gave and offered and shared. We are together stronger as survivors. We thrive and we are never alone in this journey. So take care until another episode and be well.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Dear Katie. These conversations are never easy, but they're always necessary, and we're so grateful you chose to share this space with us. If something in today's episode stirred something within you, please give yourself what you need. Whether that's rest, support, or just a deep breath, you're not alone. To hear more stories, resources, and survivor-centered conversations, be sure to subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to hear from you, so please leave us a review and share your feedback. Your thoughts help us create episodes that resonate with listeners. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.